It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing. Think you're violent. Woo!
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Andy along with Jim and Jacob, and we're already arguing before the mics are even turned on.
I love it, man. We actually do a show before we're doing the show. Seriously, we're sitting here debating the rankings that come out on Tuesday night, the CFP rankings, and ESPN did their projected ones using the Associated Press. Obviously, the Associated Press doesn't hold any water when the CFP rankings come out. And we were talking about this, Andy, before you walked in. What do you think the biggest change will be between what we've been used to seeing by the AP every week? Because the CFP always throws us a curveball.
They do. Every single ranking.
Who are they going to prop up, and who are they going to slide down in their rankings? So, obviously, we don't know until Tuesday, but it is interesting to speculate. And I told Andy this. I think Oregon is a team. They may not prop up as high as what everyone else has because they don't have that great signature win just yet. That may come down the road at some point, but like I said, the win at Penn State looked fantastic at the time. Now it's just another win. So I think that may be the one team that has been in the top 5, top 6, or whatever. I think they may be closer to 10 on Tuesday than they are in the top 6 or something.
Yeah, and I wonder what they do with Georgia Tech sitting at 8-0. They don't really have a huge win yet either. They've done what they're supposed to, and they've beaten the teams that they're supposed to. But I don't know that they've played a ranked team or a team that's ranked yet.
You're talking about Oregon, right?
No, Georgia Tech.
Oh, Georgia Tech.
And so, but we were talking here. I think we'll know. In my opinion, before you walked in, I think we'll know how the committee views Notre Dame's playoff hopes on Tuesday. If they're sitting at 12, I'm a little worried. I'm a little for Notre Dame. If they're sitting at 10, then you're moving up because of other teams bouncing out.
Yeah, I'm curious too, and we're going to let our listeners in on this conversation we had before we went on air, but I want to go back to Oregon for a second. You're talking about them not having a signature win. It was supposed to be Penn State.
Absolutely.
Penn State was number 3.
It's not Oregon's fault.
It's not at all. Penn State was number 3 at the time of that game, and Oregon beat Penn State 30-24. Then followed that up with a home loss, which you're not supposed to necessarily be penalized for your losses against great teams as much as you should be. I've heard things that kind of contradict this, but a lot of the people say that the committee doesn't look at a loss to a top 10 team as a huge, oh man, that's a big black eye.
Do you know
they lost to Indiana 30-20 at home?
And it hasn't happened recently, but it has happened. I've seen it in the AP poll where a top 5 team beat a top 20 team, and it was close, and that top 20 team actually rose in the rankings the next week because they showed what they're really made of. So you're right. You shouldn't be hurt by a quality loss.
The problem with Oregon's schedule, bye week this week, what's their next win that you say, oh man, that's a good win? After this bye week, they play at Iowa, who's 6-2 right now, playing pretty good football, but they're not ranked. They're not a team.
They're number 26 in the poll. They're the first team out.
Yeah, they're not a team that you're like, oh man, that's a big win when you win that game. And then you look a couple more weeks down the schedule, you've got number 23 USC, which who knows what you're going to get out of USC.
USC's playing Nebraska this Saturday, so if they beat Nebraska, that'll prop them up probably 18, 19, somewhere around there.
And as Jacob was saying, that helps out my Irish a little bit. That makes that dominant win over USC a little bit more notable.
And then they still got the Washington Huskies. They're sitting there at 6-2 too, as well. So their big wins, their signature wins, are probably forthcoming.
Yeah, it's really hard. I want to go back to you talking about the losses, them not hurting you. I think it's okay to say they not hurt you, but then you also have to look at wins. You're right. If USC wins out, that's big for y'all because that's a notable win. like I hope Tennessee fans know, like I try to be a very even kill person. What's Tennessee's notable win? They have 2 good losses.
They don't yet. Now Oklahoma will be if assuming they win that game.
But then that Oklahoma's a 3-loss team at this point.
That is this game though, and let's talk about, since we went there, let's talk about Tennessee for a second. First of all,
because I think they're a good team, and I think they could be a team that sneaks into the back half of the playoff if they run the table.
I think you're exactly right, and this is where I was going. First of all, Mike Keith's show came on before us. Such a good show. We apologize that we had to cut Mike Keith off, and you got to listen to us 3 just argue with each other and talk about how Notre Dame should, how they shouldn't get in.
And we are only going 30 minutes
That's
today.
true. That is true. Short show today.
High school football.
Because we've got high school football. But I do want to say this. I think Tennessee is in complete control as a 2-loss team right now, in complete control of their destiny. You beat Oklahoma. I don't think that's a huge win, but it is.
I think it's a huge win.
Does that make sense? When you look long-term, Oklahoma's ranked 18. They're going to get their 3rd loss, as Jacob just said. That's probably – they might hang around in the top 25. It's possible.
Possible, but not probable.
If it's a competitive game in Neyland Stadium.
If it's a close like an overtime.
Yeah, and it comes down to a last-second Tennessee kick, then I think they hang in there and drop probably 3 or 4 spots.
They would be the only 3-loss team in the top 25.
And I'd be okay with that, because look at how much respect the SEC has gotten in the polls this year.
Hey, Notre Dame was 0-2 and ranked.
Yeah.
So
that's
somebody
one thing,
has to be the first.
That's one thing with the committee. They look at this stuff, and that was by the AP, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Notre Dame. But the committee looks at this and they look deeper into the game. They say, well, what is their DNA? Yeah, the score was 24-21. They'll look at that and say, so that loss doesn't really look that bad because they're in Neyland Stadium at night. So Oklahoma could get a little bit more respect, and that could make that a little bit more of an important win for Tennessee. If you're a Tennessee fan, you certainly hope that is the case. And that's odd to say that, but best case scenario for Tennessee, knowing that you're about to be rolling into the last week of the season, facing a currently ranked number 9 Vanderbilt team, your hopes for this weekend, if you blow Oklahoma out, that doesn't really help you. What I think helps you is Oklahoma finishing the season without another loss, which is going to be hard for Oklahoma. Looking at their schedule,
they would be 9-3 if they were to lose Tennessee and win out.
They've got Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So that's not an easy path, especially with Alabama sitting right there, and you don't know what you're going to get out of LSU. But the best case for Tennessee, you win that game close, and
Oklahoma stays ranked,
and Oklahoma goes on to upset Alabama. That looks like a huge win for Tennessee then.
Yep.
But if Tennessee blows out Oklahoma, I don't know if it helps you a whole lot if Oklahoma goes on and loses to Alabama, loses to Missouri, and then beats LSU. I don't know if that helps you if you're Tennessee.
Here's my thing. Any team in college football, and I'm talking specifically the SEC and Notre Dame, if you got 2 losses, you don't lose that 3rd one, because now maybe a 3-loss team gets in, but last year no 3-loss teams got in, so I wouldn't want to chance it. If you went out, I think if you're an SEC team and you got 2 losses, I think the committee's going to be, they've done enough. They've done enough.
I don't. Because of how the schedule is working out this year, I don't think a 3-loss team gets in.
I don't either.
Because here's the thing: the ACC could play spoilers to a lot of people this year. They can, because at the end of the day, I'm sitting here looking at this. You've got Louisville sitting with 1 loss.
And this is where Jacob was ready to throw my Irish under the bus. Continue, Jacob.
You've got Miami sitting with 1 loss. You've got Georgia Tech sitting with no losses. And here's the thing. For some reason in the ACC, none of these teams play each other.
Yeah, and now look at the Big 12.
Do you think that's by design, knowing who's going to be good? I don't know how early those schedules were made.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't play each other. And so, like, if they run the table, like, Miami's not going to the ACC champion. Like, what if they don't go and they're sitting at 11-1? They're in.
Oh, absolutely, because they've got that signature win over Notre Dame.
And okay, so
that's huge,
so then
man.
Georgia Tech. Let's say they lose to Georgia and then go on to lose in the SEC or in the ACC championship. Are you going to penalize them because they played in a championship game?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I don't think you should.
There are 2 lost teams sitting there, and they're in. There's just so many teams, and then we're not even talking about the Big 12.
Right.
We're not even talking about
Cincinnati and Utah play each other this weekend. One of those teams going to win, and it's going to be a big win for whoever comes out on top in that. You've got Brigham Young, I don't know who's going to beat those guys.
So, Jim, you've been following this on a professional level much longer than Jacob and I have. So my question for you here is, looking at the AP top 25, looking at the coaches poll top 25, between these two rankings, which one do you feel more accurately projects what we're going to see on the college football playoff ranking, the coaches or the AP?
I think the AP. I guess I'm more aligned with the AP. There are times where I think the coaches get it right too, but I tend to pay more attention and follow it a little bit more. And here's the reason I do this: is because I've heard coaches like to prop up their opponents, and so they'll rank them higher because they want their next opponent to be propped up a little bit more. Where I think the writers, they're supposed to be unbiased. We know they're not. Everyone's from somewhere. We all know that.
They cover a team. They get to know the
Right.
players and
So
the coaching
I
staff.
believe in integrity a little bit more in the AP than I do the coaches. It's not huge because anyone that says they're not biased, they're lying. Everyone's got bias. I've got bias. You got bias. You do too. We've all got some bias in us.
The only thing I don't like about the AP is like there's some people out there that obviously just don't take it seriously, but there's enough people,
And that drives me crazy.
It does. Like, could you imagine? Like, the honor it would be to be someone on there and get to vote on that? Like, having that honor. And sometimes I think we as people that just sit here and talk about it, that's why I love this show so much, is because we're fans. Like, we are fans just like you guys that are listening, and we're having a conversation about what we believe in college football. But, like, I feel like the fans can almost do a better job than whoever that clown was a couple weeks ago that moved Florida up after losing, and then somebody did the same thing with LSU. They tried to move them up after a loss. I'm like, you cannot.
They're not paying attention.
No, they're not.
You know, like you said, I take it seriously. I get to vote. I'm a member of the Football Writers Association. I get to vote on some individual awards. I take it seriously. I do the research. I look at the stats. I look at what they've done, and I read stuff about them before I cast my vote. Because I'm not just going to go, I'm going to vote for my favorite team's guys. I want the best guy, the most deserving guy to win these awards. Because I take it seriously, and you should.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're even, like, we've talked about this with the Hall of Fame. Like, you're pretty strict on like who you think. Like, you've got to be.
You know, my standards are a little higher for the Hall of Fame than a lot of people. It's not the Hall of really, really good. It's the Hall of the greatest of
Cream
all
of the
time.
crop.
The cream of the crop.
So the reason I asked that question about the AP top 25 and the coaches poll, so let's focus on the AP. I think we all three kind of mutually agree that that's probably the most accurate when you're comparing the
It's
college football
debatable
playoff
at times,
ranking.
but, yeah.
So we're going to quickly go through this. At 1 and 2, you've got two Big Ten teams, Ohio State and Indiana, both undefeated right now. They are both, for me, locks to get in. They're probably going to play each other in the Big Ten championship. One of them's going to have one loss. Doesn't do a whole lot for me, whoever it is. Even if, let's pretend Indiana blows out Ohio State. I just want to ruffle Jim's feathers a little
fine.
bit.
It could happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It could.
But let's say it happens. I don't think Ohio State falls very far.
No, one is on a bye week, and then the other is hosting a home game.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd be okay with that. You know.
Yeah, so those two are locks. You look at Texas A&M and looking at their schedule, Missouri coming up, South Carolina and Texas are the big in-conference games. Do they finish undefeated in the SEC? Do they make the SEC championship game?
I don't even think they have to. I think if they lose 2 games, they're still in. They squeak in
But
the
I
back end.
definitely-
I have them as a lock.
I definitely think that Texas and Texas A&M game is going to be a terrific football game. I am so looking forward to that game, y'all. And I'm not a fan of either team.
I honestly think Texas A&M is about to take some frustration out on Texas. I really do.
They might. That's why I'm so looking forward to it.
So Texas A&M is a lock, we could say. Alabama already with an ugly loss at Florida State, but it was early. One thing that we've learned about the committee, I'm saying this as a Notre Dame fan who has a loss to two, Texas A&M and Miami, 2 top-ranked teams. You look at Alabama, that's not a top-ranked loss, but it was early enough in the season. I think they're kind of forgiven for that loss.
Look back to last year. Notre Dame had one of the ugliest losses
Northern Illinois.
of all
Exactly,
time,
exactly.
and they made it. So
Made it to the championship game
Yeah.
for crying out loud.
So Alabama, are we saying they're a lock for the playoffs?
I feel like they are.
I think they are too. I think they're the best team in the SEC. Myself.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, then you've got Georgia at 6-1, sitting at number 5 right now. Are we a lock with the Bulldogs? They got to play a tough Georgia Tech team. You win that game,
And
I
they
think
got
you're in.
Florida man. Don't overlook
Yeah,
that Florida game.
I'm not ready to say they're probable to me.
Let's say Georgia loses to Florida, beats Georgia Tech. I think they're in.
They're in.
But then they go to the SEC championship. But that still put them in the SEC championship.
I don't believe that losing the conference championship games is used against teams. I think the only thing that happens, it will help the team that wins. But the teams that lose, it doesn't hurt.
Unique scenario then. Georgia loses to Florida. I don't think it's going to happen. But let's say they do. They beat Georgia Tech, so they've got 2 losses. And I believe that puts them. It really depends on A&M and Alabama how they finish out. But I don't think it's possible for Georgia to get in the SEC championship game, is it?
No.
Yeah. I think it's very, very
Because you're going to look at a 1-loss Ole Miss. You're probably going to look at a undefeated or 1-loss A&M. You're going to look at
and Alabama beat them head to head.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say then you've got Oregon, Ole Miss, as you just mentioned, and Georgia Tech, who's undefeated at 8. I think those 8 teams are basically locked to get in right now.
Unless craziness happens, I agree.
So then you go to 9. You've got Vanderbilt, who's got to play Tennessee. That's a big game.
They got to play Texas.
Got to play Texas. So depending on who you're pulling for, if you're Tennessee, you want Vandy sitting there. By the time that game's played, they'd be
11-1.
yeah. So you want Vanderbilt sitting there with 1 loss before they have to come to Knoxville.
Yeah.
That helps your cause. So the reason I'm getting at this, you win that Vanderbilt game, that's a top 10 win against a 1-loss team. That puts Vandy at their 2nd loss, losing to Tennessee,
and their 2 losses would be Alabama and now a playoff team in Tennessee.
So
Yeah, 2 playoff teams, they are your only 2 losses.
So does Vandy get in with 2 losses?
I think the SEC is. I think they're going to get 4 minimum. I could see a scenario where the SEC gets 5 in.
So Tennessee
and that would be Vanderbilt.
Tennessee would be a 2-loss team. Vandy would be a 2-loss team. And how do you keep one or the other on the outside looking in?
Well, the winner of that game has a leg up.
I know, but I mean, Vanderbilt's got a pretty good track record. They've got some that's having them beat Texas, having them beat.
And are we keeping this scenario same with Georgia loses to Florida but wins out?
Yeah, we can. We can play that game.
Because that's another 2-loss. Georgia would slide down in the rankings, but then they would have a head-to-head against Tennessee.
That's right.
And
so that's almost like a 3-way tie, kind of like what we're seeing
high school football.
High school football 5A, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. Walker Valley, big game tomorrow night as far as high school football
and
goes.
then we're not even talking about if Virginia runs the table and then loses in the ACC championship game.
And we don't even talk about Missouri.
And you've got to get your group of 6 team.
Not Louisiana.
Tulane.
Louisville. Sorry.
Oh,
Louisville.
Yeah.
So you've got to get your group of 6 team in, which is BYU. They're undefeated right now.
BYU's the Big 12.
Oh, that's right. They're not group of 6
So
anymore.
it'd be Memphis right
We're
now.
talking
Wow.
about, we're talking about
That's
Memphis.
right.
Because they beat South
So
Florida.
yeah, it would be Memphis. You're exactly right. So I'm kind of starting to, as we're talking through this and hearing Jacob's point pre-show, he was saying, Andy, I'm worried about your Irish. Andy's worried about his Irish a little bit right now.
Yeah,
Because I'm being transparent right now. I'm looking at these teams. I'm looking at win-loss record. Now, is it very attractive? Does it generate a lot of money to have a Notre Dame team in the playoff? You bet your
absolutely.
bottom dollar it does. Does that factor into this decision?
It's not
could.
supposed to, but I think it does.
That's why I said on Tuesday, I think we'll have a clearer picture whether the committee thinks that Notre Dame should be in or not.
Notre Dame needs some help, it looks like.
And that's where I disagreed with you. I just don't. I think Notre Dame doesn't control their destiny anymore. I think they're at the hands of a bunch of different.
They're rooting
teams.
for other teams to lose.
At the end of the day, we talked about all those 2-loss teams. If Notre Dame wins out, they're a 2-loss team. If Tennessee beats Vandy doesn't lose another game, they're a 2-loss team. If Tennessee is sitting there and finishes like that, they're a 2-loss team. What I think happens, you're looking at those 2-loss teams because right now in the AP Top 25, your 2-loss teams by ranking in order are Notre Dame at 12, then Tennessee at 14, and then there's not another one till Oklahoma at 18.
Yep.
So you're going to look at those teams in front of Tennessee and Notre Dame right now, and when they get to those 2 losses, Notre Dame's going to be on the climb. Tennessee's going to be on the climb. Those teams are going to have recent losses.
That's true.
So that is going to have a huge deciding factor in this.
And I know we got to hit a break here in a second, but I'm convinced that the big brands still influence that committee. I believe that.
I've been pulling for Vandy. I want the Vanderbilt-Tennessee game to be I want it to be a game where everyone's like, hey, Vandy and Tennessee are playing this Saturday.
But if you
I want
are
it
a
to be
historical big brand, I still think they're influenced. I do.
Yeah, but I'll say this, and what's going to be tough is, like, who does Notre Dame have left on their
Pitt.
schedule?
That's a big win.
Pitt.
If they get that.
Pitt,
will be probably ranked at the time when they play.
Pitt has been overlooked by everybody. After that, Syracuse was supposed to be a better game, a team that was a tough ball club last year, loses their quarterback, Notre Dame transfer, Steve Angeli. So you've lost being able to get a notable win under your belt there.
You got undefeated Navy.
But I'll say this, Navy's undefeated. And then looking at that Pitt game, not getting a whole lot of respect. They're 6-2. A lot of teams are 6-2 right now and ranked. Who's Pitt beat? They've lost to West Virginia. They've lost to Louisville. Who have they beat is what you go to. They beat Florida State. That's their only notable win. And is that a notable win anymore?
Yeah, it's gonna be a resume thing, and we know the AP has favored the SEC, but it is the playoff committee going to do it.
We'll find out on Tuesday.
We'll find out on Tuesday. But with that, I think we're gonna have to take our first break.
Yeah, let's do it.
You've listened to a very interesting and chaotic first few minutes of the drive, so we'll be back in just a minute.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Not all composite decking is the same. Enjoy life's beautiful moments on an equally beautiful composite deck. Envision's products feature deep, non-repeating grains and distinct colors throughout each pour, offering a truly unique appearance unlike anything else on the market. Learn more and find inspiration for your project at Cleveland Plywood. Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
ESPN Cleveland 1013 is powered by Duracell.
This is Alfonso Revizo, General Manager over at Crown in Cleveland, your local Jeep and Ram dealership.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
When it comes to sports coverage, News Channel 9 is going big. Big-time sports with a big personality on the TVFCU Sports Desk with Big Will Levinson. Big-time SEC games, covering the Bulls, running with the Dogs, and rolling with the Tide. Plus the mocks, local prep, and everything in between.
Welcome to the TVFCU Sports Desk. I'm Big Will Levinson, college.
The TVFCU Sports Desk, only on News Channel 9 and Fox Chattanooga.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one. Medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com.
Got our guy E on the board today. Excited to be here with E. Jacob's getting the day off on the board, so everything's moving very smoothly on the drive today.
2 days in a row. I'm kind of enjoying this luxury treatment over here.
So, E, I have a question for you, and it's a short show today because we got high school football. Big game tonight. Bradley on the road for the third week in a row up at Bearden. You're going to be working the board for that.
I will.
What time do we have to be off today?
I think Gary probably wants to go on at 5:30. So
Timeout. Gary wanted to go on at 3:30. Okay.
3:30. He did. You're right.
No, I'm just listen.
No,
Gary's
you're
Gary's got so much information that, man, you talk about a thorough pregame show. You want to know what's going on, what you're getting ready to run into right after our show. You're going to be able to hear Gary Ownby on the Bradley pregame broadcast.
I'm pretty sure I got a text from Gary about like 40 minutes ago of him saying I need a clean feed link 40 minutes ago.
I'm telling you,
he's already up there.
So he's already up there. He's already up there
up,
wanting to do it.
Locked and loaded, man. Gary's ready to go.
Yeah.
So as long as we're out of here by like 6:59 today, right?
Yeah, that should be
about
good.
a minute
That should be
prior to
good.
kickoff, right?
And then he'll request you to be fired.
Yeah,
and
he will.
He'll take
He will.
over the show.
Wouldn't be the first time. Hey, so big high school games presented by Food City tonight. Bradley at Bearden. Again, it doesn't necessarily affect their region seed. Bradley's locked down that number 3 seed in the region, but definitely want to end on a good note up at Bearden. A Bearden team, I'm going to just go ahead and come out and say it. I think Damon Floyd and the Bears are about to put up some big points tonight.
And they will, but boy, could you imagine going into the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, and really, like, at the end of the day, like, it is coaches speak, but it's true. Like, the standard's the standard.
Yeah.
Like, you're not playing to a team. Like, you're playing to the standard of football that you expect from Bradley Central
That's
High
right.
School.
That's right.
And so, like, I expect them to go up there after a tough loss to Maryville and play to the standard.
I agree.
So the other game going on tonight over at Benny Monroe Stadium, Chris Brown, first-year head coach of the Blue Raiders, going into his final regular season game of the season, final game of the season for the Blue Raiders as they fell last week, losing those playoff chances, but playing a Farragut team that is a very beatable Farragut team. Blue Raiders playing some better football here over the past few weeks.
They actually played pretty darn good last Friday
They did.
night.
It got away late. It got away late.
Very late, yeah.
But this is a statement game for that program, I feel like. I think he's got the guys ready to go. And this is going to kind of help set the tone for your off season and your approach going into next season. Because all these guys that are playing tonight, guess what? They're going to be back on the field next year for the Blue Raiders.
That's right. Absolutely.
And then, of course, we talked about it. Tomorrow night, Walker Valley hosting Ray County. This game decides a region championship. So a lot of people have been asking Jacob, what are the scenarios? First of all, you want to win that football game if you're Walker Valley just to be outright region champs. That's the cleanest, best scenario.
And again, you don't want to be going in the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, that's you're exactly right. And if for some reason you're to lose that game to Ray County, if you're Ray County or Walker Valley, you're really rooting hard for McMinn. You need McMinn's help.
Mm-hmm.
McMinn's playing East Hamilton. And
good luck.
So and they're at McMinn though.
I don't care.
I just watched Ray County go in and put up 28 points in the first quarter at
And
McMinn.
East Hamilton's really
I'm going to
good.
say this. That McMinn team all hinges for me on if Peanut Dyer's running the football for him. He got hurt in that game last week against Ray County. Didn't see him come back in.
Yeah,
and that completely changed. They had to start throwing the football, weren't able to run the football. When he's running the football, they were moving the chains. And
it still was like 28-0 though. Peanut,
I watched the whole first half.
Yeah, when did he got hurt? Like after
It was early in the second quarter.
and again, so down 28-0. Again,
How often is a big man going to turn the ball over? Is what I'm saying. Bo Kegel's team not known for doing that a whole
The
lot.
odds makers say that East Hamilton's favored by 20 points. I'm kidding.
So all I'm saying is people are counting McMinn out. I'm not counting them out. But if you're Ray County or Walker Valley, really pulling for McMinn to help you out. But between those two teams, Walker Valley and Ray County, in that game tomorrow, you control your own destiny. If you win, you're in a very, very good spot. Of course, Mustangs win outright region champs. If they lose, then East Hamilton beats McMinn, you're dropping all the way to the 3 seed. If McMinn is able to beat East Hamilton and you're Walker Valley, you only drop to the 2 seed. There's a big difference there between that 2 and 3 because you continue to host as a 2 seed, you're on the road as a 3 seed.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you're again, like you said, big McMinn fans, but in all reality, like you control your own destiny, and you want to win. You want to win. If you're Walker Valley, like you said, you don't want to. You don't want to be that team that is on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, hey, last night, World Series coverage, all Major League Baseball coverage brought to you by Mayfield Dairy. And, man, Game 5 was a good one. The Blue Jays beat the Dodgers last night 6-1, giving Toronto a 3-2 lead over the Dodgers headed back to Toronto.
Yep. I think the Dodgers are their offense has got to wake up, man. They're not hitting the ball right now.
Personally, I hope they don't.
Well,
Game 6 Friday, Toronto again hosting the Dodgers. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Blue Jays versus Yamamoto for the Dodgers. So with that, guys, you got anything else before we go?
nope. Just support the high school football being played tonight. How's that?
Yeah, at Benny Monroe Stadium, or get on the road up to Bearden to support the Bears. And by the way, Nebraska's Matt Rule got a little extension. He won't be going to Penn State.
Nope, he's staying in Lincoln.
So with that, hope everybody has a great Thursday. Again, support high school football, sponsored by Food City right here. Complete coverage tonight of Bradley and Cleveland. For E, for Jim, for Jacob, I'm Andy. Have a great evening, everybody.
This is John Davis, the trading man at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway. Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened about how much